Come on, y'all. Learning got to be fun. So I'm feeling a little festive, a little Michael Jack. All right. Can't take yourself too serious. I love to learn, but I like to have fun. I like to laugh at myself. We're moving on, though. My book of favorite quotes, A 30-Day Transformation to Becoming a Better You. We're up to quote number 17. Quote number 17 as follows. Failures are a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you will never change. That's number 17, and that is by Unknown. Number 17, once again, failures are a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you will never change. Okay, let's read. To fail or to be a failure has such negative connotations in the city that we live in, society that we live in. But what does it actually mean to fail? Failure is defined as a condition or fact of not achieving the desired end or ends, non-performance, or coming up short. There are many ways to express it. I would like to offer a different perspective on it because personally, I do not believe in failure. Does it mean that it does not exist? Of course not, but many people believe it, so it is true for them. My opinion is this. Whenever you set out to accomplish a task, there's always going to be a chance that you don't complete the task, fail to perform, or come up short. But is that reason enough to not do it? I, for one, don't believe it is. If we view life as a game, which in essence, that's all that it is, there are rules, objectives, guidelines, equipment, and roles people play. In order to win the game, or as in life, accomplish anything, you have to participate. Your participation in the game automatically separates you from many others. In my book, you have already won. But let's go further. You may actually have a desire to achieve more than just playing the game. In that case, whatever the goal may be, a career, more money, a family, or healthy relationships, there is a learned behavior or skill that comes along with being successful at it. Take Michael Jordan, for example. In order to be good at basketball, he had to practice. In order to be great, he had to achieve mastery. So he had to be willing to miss jump shots, parentheses, failure, in order to have an opportunity to make jump shots, parentheses, success. They are both necessary to the game. Think about it. Would you want to play a game where you always won? And there was no threat of ever being defeated? That would be boring. We want to find something else to challenge us. There are other ways we can learn from this as well. Thomas Edison, the Wright brothers, even the space program NASA, they all failed over and over until they achieved the desired result. In the cases of electricity, airplanes, and space shuttles, they understood that coming up short was a part of the process. So failure wasn't an option because their desire to succeed was too strong. We live in a universe where anything is possible. All we have to do is think of it and go do it. As long as we don't give up, we ultimately will achieve it. Now, I've heard people say, but I gave my best and it wasn't good enough. So they walk away feeling like failures. Now, feeling like a failure is no good. The word means nothing without an emotion attached to it. Avoid at all costs feeling like a failure because that is the seed that can take root and sprout some weeds. Look at it this way. My best is probably not going to be good enough the very first time I do something. If giving my best was the answer for success, I'd be a really rich man right now, but I'm not. Okay? What's great about giving your best is it can be used as a measuring stick to see where I am in achieving my goals. My best can and will get better as long as I continue to practice, develop, train, and harvest the skills necessary to achieve. The person who doesn't give their best because they fear their best isn't good enough has created a mental prison of limiting beliefs that will stymie them until broken. I have personally failed many times. I have failed in relationships. I have failed with financial investments. I have failed as an actor. Now, each failure has taught me more about myself and what I need to do to be better the next time I enter into those fields. Relationship-wise, my failures have taught me the need to be a better communicator in order to express myself more effectively. My failures in financial investments have taught me the importance of financial literacy and not just relying on the expert to do it for me. I need to be more I need to be more proactive when handling my money and handing my money over to someone for investment. My failures in acting taught me the need to master my craft, take the necessary classes, workshops, and seminars to be as confident as I can possibly be when going into an audition or a meeting for a potential job. Every situation in life can be used as a teaching tool to learn. That right there is my main goal in life, to continue to learn. I don't want to ever know it all. I like waking up every day knowing that today is another opportunity to learn something new. They say we learn more from failing than succeeding anyway, which I find to be very true. Understand, based on the law of polarity mentioned earlier, that there is no success without failure, and more importantly, there is no failure without success. With determined perseverance, you will work your way from failure to success. It is universal law. Try looking at failure with new eyes. When you come up short, before you criticize yourself, first pat yourself on the back for participating in the game. Examine the failure and how you can improve from it, then get up and go back into the game to try again. It's not how many times life knocks you down that's important. It's how many times you can get back up that is. You are not a failure. You are a participant getting better every single day. Lastly, remember, anything worth doing is worth doing badly at first. Now go play and have fun. That is number 17. Failures are a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you will never change. So let's take a couple of minutes to reflect. Yeah, man, I don't believe, words are just words, man. Like, the only way a word can mean anything to you is if you attach some type of feeling or emotion to it. So when I think about it that way, like, nothing is good or bad until we say it so, based on our life experience, from when we were kids on up to adults. So that's why I don't believe in right and wrong, because what may be right for me may be wrong for somebody else. I have a high cholesterol, so it's wrong for me to eat animal products. But for somebody else who don't have that problem, they can eat all the animal products they want. So is that wrong for them because it's right for me not to? Right? So when we get into a situation where we start trying to gauge and judge, a broad blanket of right and wrong, good and bad, like, that's why our society is in the condition that it's in, because we're too busy trying to micromanage everything and who gets to decide what's good and bad and right and wrong, right? In my opinion, God gets to decide. Now, what version of God do you subscribe to? Okay, some people it's Christianity and the Bible. For me, it's universal law, metaphysics. I personally believe anybody should be allowed to do whatever they want to do as long as they don't infringe upon the physical being of somebody else. So if you want to ride around on a motorcycle with no helmet on and you crash and split your head open, that's on you. If you ride around on a motorcycle and you crash into somebody and you injure somebody, right, now you can be held liable because you infringed on the happiness and the abilities of somebody else to just do their thing, right? So back to failure. Failure is just a word like anything else. Success is a word like anything else. But for the sake of conversation, we use words to signify certain, conversations and meanings of certain things that we're trying to do in life. So people have a view of what success is and it feels good. people have a view of what failure is, and it doesn't feel good. But I'm like, that's not cement. That's not in stone. You can decide what those words mean to you. Right? And then when you understand universal laws and the universal law of polarity, which says that everything in the universe, there's duality. There's things that appear to have an opposite, right? So they're on the same frequency, but they're on polarizing ends, right? So on the left, if you want to call it success, and then you go to the polarizing opposite, there would be the absence of success, which would be failure, is the word that we use. But it's not a bad thing. No more than success is a good thing. They're just words. They're just opposing forces on a frequency scale, right? You can't have one without the other, right? So nobody can only be successful and nobody can only be a failure, right? If you continue to do anything long enough, you will experience some sort of both, right? Because we have polarity and then we have the universal law of rhythm, which says life moves like a pendulum between poles, right? It's going back and forth. So you experience success, you experience, a valley, and you can experience failure. But the pendulum keeps swinging. So you don't stay down here in this failure, right? It has to swing back towards success or the other side, right? But it's our thinking that can make it feel like it lasts longer than it actually does, right? So take seasons, for example. Every year we have spring, summer, fall, winter. Spring, summer, fall, winter, right? Now, winter can seem extra cold, exceptionally cold if you don't have a jacket, right? But if you're prepared for winter, if you have a coat, you got a hat, you got gloves, you got thermals, you got boots, you got, a trench coat, you got all you need, right? Winter's not as bad, but it can feel worse for somebody who's not prepared for it, who doesn't understand that it's just a season and this too shall pass, right? So it's smart for us to prepare for the different seasons of life, right? Prepare to be successful. Prepare to have it swing the other way to where things aren't popping for you and aren't cracking for you. That's just the nature of life. Now, my question when this was taught to me was, well, if life is moving back and forth between these poles and it's on a pendulum and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, I was like, that doesn't seem like fun to me. That seems very mediocre, average life. And I was like, but how do you explain those people that seem to win out more than other people? And at the time, Tiger Woods was winning, seemed like every tournament in sight. You think about somebody like a Michael Jordan that seems to win championships all the time. Somebody like a Will Smith who's, top box office draw all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, how do you explain certain people? And my teacher was like, they've mastered their craft, right? They've mastered their craft better than the people that they do it against. Right? So a lot of us are in competitive environments. So those people, Tiger Woods, he had mastered his craft of golf better than the people that he competed against. So he appeared to win very often, which he did, but he didn't win every single time. But he had a high percentage because he was a master of his craft compared to the people that he did it against. Now, the pendulum still swung on my man. Right? Because he started having marital problems and come to find out he was sleeping with everything in sight. And, his career hasn't been back. It hasn't swung back totally since those incidents back in the day. Like it's been 6 or 7 years. Now he's won tournaments since, but he's nowhere near his peak because that pendulum is swinging on everybody. And if we're not aware of what's happening, we can mentally stay stuck in certain aspects of that pendulum swing for longer periods of time because of our thinking. But even our thinking can't stop the pendulum from swinging back the other way. The only way we don't experience the swing is if we give up and if we quit. But if you stay with it, the pendulum has got to swing back and forth. Now, we can rise above this pendulum swing and this law of rhythm by mastery, being the best that you can possibly be, against whatever people that you're competing against. Right? It's not about comparing yourself to other people, because you're actually only competing with yourself and trying to be the best version of yourself. But there's other factors in play. There's other people vying for certain positions that you are too. So you want to give yourself the best opportunity. And when you don't get it, and there are going to be times that you don't achieve whatever that is, it's not a failure to me. It can be labeled as such, but it's like, no, okay, let me reflect. Let me learn from it. And where do I need to continue to grow? Because we all have comfort zones, right? So anybody who's staying inside their comfort zone, right? You can't grow in your comfort zone, right? You're kind of paralyzing yourself. So your growth is outside of your comfort zone, and anything outside of your comfort zone, you got to be willing to make mistakes. You got to be willing to fail, because now it's new territory, it's new terrain, it's unknown. You don't know what to expect. So you're taking whatever your success was that got you to this place in this particular comfort zone, and you're taking that into a new realm, and now it's uncharted territory. Now your best that got you to a certain point may not be good enough, right? I'm a sports guy. The best basketball player on his high school team is not necessarily going to be the best player on his college basketball team, because now you got all the best players from their high school teams on your college teams. So yeah, you still could be, or you might not be, because now you got to step your game up. You're out of your comfort zone. Now, the best person in college basketball might not be the best player on the professional team, because now it's all the top players on a professional level. So even the 12th guy who doesn't play on an NBA team is really good. He's just not as good as those other 11 guys there in front of him. He needs to put in more work. It's the difference between good and great. Mastery. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, mastery. Right now you separate yourself. But Magic didn't win every championship. Right? Michael Jordan took 7 years before he even made it to the finals. LeBron James doesn't win every championship. Kobe didn't win every championship. Shaq didn't win every championship, right? So nobody there's no absolute anything, because there's polars, right? There's got to be positive and negative. God, the devil, night, day, like there's no getting around it. So if I've learned to accept it and go, okay, relationships go up and down. My career as an actor, up and down. Okay, now, how can I vibrate longer in those areas where it feels better to me? Right? One, understand that nothing is going to last forever. What goes up must come down. Okay, so mentally I'm prepared for the up and the down. Now, can I vibrate longer in the up and shorten my downs? I can do that with my mind. I can do that with my mind by, one, being a master of whatever I'm trying to do, and then understanding the law. Is what goes up must come down. So when it's down, it doesn't mean quit, give up, start complaining, become a victim. It means, okay, now it's winter, right? Hopefully I didn't blow my wad during the spring, summer, fall and spend up all my money or eat up all my food, right? Now I got something left over in winter. Now winter doesn't seem so bad. Now let me start preparing during winter, because spring is coming. And then let me go hard in spring, because I want to reap my harvest in the summer and the fall. Right? So it's very predictable if you can accept certain premises. And I could just talk on and on, but I don't want to. So number 17, failures are a part of life. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you will never change. Right? Don't be afraid to change. Step outside your comfort zone. That's what growth is. Outside your comfort zone. You know, learn. We're never going to know it all. And I appreciate that fact that I can learn something new every day from anybody. So thank you for watching and subscribing and sharing and supporting my book of favorite quotes. You know, the self-love t-shirts, I got a new design coming. So it's called Spread Love and it's in Arabic. So stay tuned for that. And hey, y'all, have a great week, man. It's your boy, Brooklyn McLean. Peace.